did you...
Mom, what's wrong?
Where did you get this? Where was it?
Why? Am I in trouble?
No, Bobby, I'm glad that you found it. It's something that's very important that was missing the last time your father was reassigned. We searched for it for months. I knew it was around here someplace.
Gee, I thought it was just an old rag. It looks like those things Grandma Joe used to make. Oh, the little squares are all different colors. See, it's not even pretty.
Where did you find it?
I was looking at those boxes in the attic from when we moved here. I wanted to see if anything cool was in them. It was wrapped around a flower vase. What is it?
Your grandmother made it, and it's very special. Thank you for finding it. Oh, God, I thought it was gone forever when we stopped hunting for it.
But why is it so important?
When your grandmother was your age, Bobby, she got very sick. She had something called leukemia. Back then, most of the children who got it, they died. But your grandmother went to a special hospital in Tennessee. She went to a children's research hospital.
But she didn't die, or she wouldn't have been your mom.
Oh, that's right. The people at the hospital saved Grandma's life. That's why she decided to become a nurse. She wanted to be just like them.
She shouldn't have been a doctor.
Well, she thought about it, but back then medical schools didn't welcome women. Her nurses had been very kind to her and were an important part of her treatment team. She had good grades and could afford to go to nursing school, so that's what she decided to do.
Did she take care of children?
When she graduated from nursing school, she wrote to the hospital and she asked them if she could work there helping children the way that her nurses had helped her. They offered her admission into the training program for pediatric nurses.
What's pediatric?
Oh, it means medicine related to children.
Sorry, that was stupid.
It's not stupid to ask if you don't know something, Bobby. Anyway, she did well in the training program, and so they hired her to take care of children with serious illnesses, just like she wanted to do.
So, what's that got to do with making these dumb things?
Oh, Jack? Is that you? We're in the kitchen, honey.
Be right there.
Hey! Oh, why are you in uniform?
I changed at the base so that I could drop it off to the cleaners on the way home. What's going on? Is that your mother's quilt?
It sure is. Bobby found it wrapped around a vase packed up in the attic.
Somebody must have thought it'd make good packing material.
You think? I wonder who that could have been.
Hey, don't look at me. I wouldn't have spent half a year looking for it if I knew where it was.
I thought it was just an old rag.
Oh no, that is very important to your mother. You know how the general has his own flag? That quilt? Grandma Jones' flag.
But how sweet. I never imagined it that way before, but I think you're right. Sit down. Join us. I was just getting ready to tell Bobby why she made it.
I'd like to know that myself. I always wondered why you thought it was so important, but you never would give me much of an answer. Let me get rid of this time briefcase.
Daddy, why was it Grandma's flag? Did she hang it outside?
Well, she might as well have, the way she waved it around the living room. That flag was Grandma Jones' way of attracting attention to herself.
But Jack! Well, so much for sweet. That was just plain mean.
What? It's true. Whenever she got into one of her moods, she would wave this thing at me and said, I added another square to the quilt today, as if that was an excuse.
You don't understand. You never have.
Well, I guess not. You made me hunt for that thing for hours. And anytime I asked what was so important about it, you just said it was precious. I'm not a mind reader. I know it's important to you, or I wouldn't have spent so much time helping you look for it.
Well, apparently you didn't try very hard since Bobby found it without much trouble.
Speak for yourself. You're the one that wanted to find it so bad, and you didn't find it either.
Well, at least I was actually trying. You told me you checked the attic. Oh, what? Did it not occur to you to look in the boxes, or did you just not care enough to take the time?
I gave it more time than it was worth.
Stop fighting! I don't like it when you fight.
I'm sorry, honey. Daddy's sorry too, aren't you, Jack?
Of course. I'm sorry, Barbara.
Dad, you know I don't like Barbara. It makes you sound like a sissy. Mom, you were going to tell me why Grandma Jo made the quilt.
I'm going to go upstairs. Maybe when I come back I can find out what this is really all about.
So, why did you say Daddy was right about Grandma's flag before he got mad at him?
Well, your grandmother, she wasn't a general, but she was in charge of taking care of a lot of young people facing danger. When things went well, she was so happy. But sometimes, just like in war, one of her young ones died. I hated it when she would come home crying.
Grandma cried?
Yeah. She would come home and tell me about a little boy or a little girl that they couldn't save, and I would cry too.
Why? Did you know them?
I never met them, Bobby, but I still felt terrible. One day, she told me about a little girl named Jessica who was only 4 years old. Jessica had a red blanket with a hole in it, but the doctors, they wanted to throw it away, but Jessica, she wouldn't let him take it. So Grandma Joan brought it home to fix it. The next day, when she took it back to the hospital, Jessica's bed was empty. She died overnight. She brought the blanket home and we cried over it together.
It's okay to cry if you're sad. What did she do with the blanket?
Oh, well, that's what I was going to tell you. A couple of days later, I came home and I saw her cutting a square out of the blanket, and I asked her why. She said, I can't let these children be forgotten. I'm going to make a quilt to remember them by. And I'm going to start with 2 pieces of Jessica's blanket. These are the squares from Jessica's blanket.
Are the other squares pieces of blankets too?
Well, some of them are. Others are pieces or pants or clothing. Anything that belonged to one of her children in the hospital. Oh, I remember this one. It belonged to a pair of pajamas from a little boy named Jimmy. I remember him because Grandma missed my piano recital. She stayed with him in the hospital until he died.
Did they all die?
Oh, no, honey. A lot of them got better and went home. But some of them died. They were all very sick. And whenever one of them would die, she would add a square or 2 to the quilt.
Well, Grandma made a lot of those quilts. Were they all from dead children?
Dead children? What's this all about, Arlan?
I'm sorry, Jack. I should have waited for you to come back. I was just explaining to Bobby that Grandma Joan made the quilts out of pieces of blankets or clothing from her patients who died. This was the first one she made.
Now I wish I hadn't asked. No wonder you never wanted to talk about it. Can we change the subject to something less depressing?
Were the other ones she made for dead children too?
I'm afraid so, Bobby. She worked at the hospital for 30 years before her leukemia came back. Nearly every year, she finished a quilt.
But didn't that just make her sad?
I said let's change the subject.
Daddy, please. This is important.
She told me that she didn't make the quilts to remember the sadness. She made it to remember the joy of the few short hours that she spent with the children when they were alive. She reminded me that for every one that died, they saved another one. Sometimes 2 or 3.
This is a pretty morbid conversation for a child, Carla. Hey, Bobby, let's go out into the yard. We can play catch if you'd like.
How come you never want to play catch when I want to? Can I see the other quilts first?
We don't have them anymore. Come on, let's go play catch before dinner.
Where are they then?
Enough!
I think that we should answer Bobby's question, don't you, Jack?
Whatever.
When Grandma got sick again, the medicine that helped the children, it didn't work for her. And she knew that she wasn't going to live much longer. So she asked that we bury the quilts with her. Except for this one. She gave this one to me and asked that I drape it on the casket and then keep it to remember her and her children. Maybe like a flag.
Okay, are we done now?
Yeah, now we're done. Honey, if you want to go outside and and play with Daddy until supper's ready. You go ahead, okay? Thank you so much for finding this for me.
Hey, Bobby, you know what? Go on out. I'll be right there. I need to talk to your mom for a minute. You know what I'd like you filling Bobby's head with all that gruesome stuff about dying children? I wish she never found that dirty old thing. We have plenty of photographs of your mother. We don't need that depressing piece of needlework to remember.
Jack, so help me God, sometimes I feel like smacking you right in the face.
What has gotten into you? What was that all about?
Would you like to know, Jack? Would you really like to know?
Yes, damn it. I've only been asking about it ever since your mother died. You made such a big deal out of it back then. Are you finally going to let me in on your big secret? I wish you'd stop obsessing about it. It's just a piece of cloth.
That dirty old thing. That depressing piece of needlework. That little piece of cloth. It's all I have of my mother, Jack. It's the only thing she ever gave me of herself.
What are you talking about? What didn't she give you? You had a nice house. You had good food. You had clothing. You had a great education. She seemed generous enough to me. What more did you want?
She gave me everything that money could buy, but none of her attention. All of her care, all of her concern was for her children. Her whole life was about her children, just her children. God, for God's sake, Jack, she was my mom. But I wasn't one of her children. I was too healthy. I didn't have cancer. I didn't need her the way her children did.
You never said anything about this before. You two always seem to get along.
Talking to you was like talking to a wall. Couldn't you guess? Like, did I have to put it up on billboards? God, you're dense.
Why didn't you tell her how you felt? You never were afraid to stand up to her. You didn't let her talk you out of being a stay-at-home mother to Barbara.
Jack, why do you think I quit practicing law as soon as Bobby was born? I loved my career, but I chose to stay home. And you know why? Because I was going to be my mother. My children were going to be the ones that were born to me, and they were going to get my full attention.
So you mean it wasn't just because I asked you to stay home?
God, now you're catching on. It only took you a decade.
Well, sorry. I didn't know. I wish you said something before.
You knew that this was important to me. I told you more than once since Mom died, but it never seemed to make much difference. You begrudged me a time it took us looking for it when it was lost, and today you all but ordered me not to tell Bobby why it even matters to me.
I said I'm sorry, and I really am. But if she neglected you for her patients, then why keep the quilt? Doesn't it just keep reminding you of that?
Jack, she put her heart into something once and gave it to me. This is the only thing that was hers that's also mine. She gave a part of herself to me once in her life. Here it is. It's all I have of her. Do you really want to take that from me?
Hey, Dad! When are you coming out?
In a minute, Bobby. I'll be right there.
What are you talking about?
I really am sorry, Carla. I get it.
Really?
What are you two talking about? Are you arguing again?
Really. I get it. We were just talking about the best place to hang your grandmother's flag. It's important, and we want everybody to be able to see it.
Jack.
Carla, I think this deserves a place of honor in our home.
Why don't you and Bobby go out and play now?
Sounds like a good idea.
Let's go, Dad.
Arlan Ropp.
Also, we're going to have somewhere our co-director, Leslie Roth.